Hello everyone, Mary Rose here from Stitch Bliss Corner. Welcome to my channel. And if you're here for the first time, thank you for coming. And to all my subscribers, hello again. Now, I'm going to be shuffling through papers as usual in this video because there are some things that I want to cover that are well, I don't want to use the word technical. It's not really that. It's just that I've got bits and pieces that I don't want to forget. So that's just the way my videos go. It's sort of a bit of a roller coaster. But there are some people that I want to mention first up. Then I want to go through certain things, and then at the end, if I've got time, I'm going to show you an artist from the past. So we'll just see how we go anyway. Now, first up, I want to mention McKenna. Every Stitch Counts. She did a video recently. She won part A and part B, or part 1 and part 2. And in it she goes, well, this is what McKenna, this is who you reminded me of with your top. It's very hard to see him, but he was the Sequin King, Liberace. Fabulous piano player. And they say that his suits were so heavy he could barely walk in them. He used to sit at the piano and play. He brought classical music to the masses, really. Anyway, that's what your top reminded me of, McKenna. It was so dazzling. And during her second, part 2 of her video, the last one she did, she was answering questions about herself. You know, she did a tag. And she mentioned that she had scoliosis as a child, which is a curvature of the spine. And she's had to have operations for that. And in typical McKenna fashion, I think she faced it head on. And she well, she didn't wallow in self-pity or anything like that. She's the sort of person that she sees what is and she deals with it. Not as to say she hasn't had challenges other than her scoliosis in her life. And she goes into that. And she mentions some of the challenges that she's had and how at times she despaired. But she's come through all that. And she's such a valuable member of the Flosstube community and her family and her friends. And well, maybe she does get an inkling of how much good she does for people with her enabling, getting people to frame their own work. And in 1,000 different ways, she influences many, many people that she'll never meet. So I thought that her frankness in her video, where she speaks about her life challenges, was very good, because I think it will help a lot of people. So well done, McKenna, once again. I'm often be praising you in one shape or form. Now McKenna also mentions, I don't know if it's Jane or Jade from Mortuary Stitches, who's having a really hard time with her health. And I'd like to send as many positive thoughts as possible to her as she faces challenges with her medical problems. So all the best to you, Jade or Jane. I'm sorry about not being sure of your name. Much love sent to you in the road ahead. So now the other person, there are 2 other people I have to mention. One is Ingeborg, A Stitch Too Far, because in the last video she was talking about a problem that she had. Well, it's not really a problem, but something that she was looking for that I may be able to help her with. So I've kept her in suspense this long. So your problem, it will be dealt with shortly. I won't keep you in suspense much longer. So, and also McKenna, you mentioned about no one likes, you know, you're talking about tanning, you know, having a nice tan, and you said no one likes a white butt. Well, just for your information, Queen Marguerite Valois, or Valos, of France, who was married to Henry of Navarre, he was a king of France, and she used to have black satin sheets to enhance the whiteness of her body. And apparently, because supposedly she had lovers anyway, I'm not quite sure how all that went, but her husband, Henry of Navarre, was fully aware of her dalliances, and one day he was in there talking to her, and he threw a chop, a meat, you know, lamb chop or whatever it may have been, under the bed to the fellow that he felt was under there. So, just a little aside for you. Okay, now the other thing I have to do is give a shout out to Stitching Jules, and she is a bit of a jewel actually. She's got a stitchy wall behind her with some of her beautiful work, and she does full coverage, and she's working on a massive piece. It looks like a tablecloth nearly. It's old world map too, and she brings that out every now and again, but as she says, you can't work on that all the time, so she's got other projects going as well. Now she has goldfish, or various fish, not just goldfish, and she's very empathetic and sympathetic towards those fish. She's got some dogs, she's got bees, and she and her husband look after those. And she's very kind, you know, someone who's kind to animals and really considers their welfare. I think that's a great reflection of the character of the person. So if you have time, just have a little look at Stitching Jules. She usually talks for a while about animals, her animals, you know, what's happening with her fish and everything. She's got them all separated at the moment because they've all been scrapping, and she doesn't know, you know, her husband's saying how many aquariums are we going to have, you know, because she's very concerned about their social welfare, that they won't get harmed in any way. So I'm sure she'll sort it out in the end. So anyway, hello to you, Stitching Jules, and keep up the good work. You're doing very well with all those projects. Right, now then, what else have I got here? Now, I suppose I could just show you Harlequin before I go on with the main part of what I'm about today. I think you've seen, that's him there. I've mentioned him before. The romantic hero. And since he's named after, I'm doing this for my husband, he's my romantic hero, but he was never the flowers type, you know, flowers and chocolates type of person. And I always said to my daughter, beware of the chocolates and flowers person to a degree, because they're the charmers, and the charmers aren't always the keepers. I think the keepers are the ones that are steady, that love you, and don't feel the need to have to tell you every 5 minutes. They've told you once, and that should be enough as far as they're concerned. Anyway, I think the character of men is very interesting. So don't always fall for the romantic type. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of romantic men that are stalwartly faithful, but I'm just saying, just to be a little bit, have your wits about you. That's all I'm saying. Now, here is where I'm up to with Harlequin. And I have made a subtle change to him. Now, wait till I just get this picture up that I've got on my phone that I've tried to get round the right way, but of course, oh, maybe it'll do it. There. Now, can you see, I'll just get this round here, close up of the red diamond between the legs? Because, oh, this is disappearing. I just put a bit of shadow in there because he's not a eunuch. And I know to a degree it is stylized, this particular design, but I just felt that it needed a little bit of shadow just here. That's the original. Oh. My usual technical problems. I'll just show you the original picture anyway. Because, as my husband pointed out, if this was a picture of a female, they wouldn't have made it flat-chested. So, there you go. Because it was annoying me. That's why I did that. Okay, so I shall bring it... Oh, sorry, I bumped the table. Right. So, that's where I'm up to with Harlequin. Now, I'm still working on... Oh, I had to mention a few things about him. Because the shoes... I've done that stitching. I can get it close up there. I've done a cross, you know, the normal cross stitch, and I've also gone down and across as well. Oh no, not across, just down. So where I've done the cross, wait a minute, I'll just show you. Where I've done the cross on the stitch, I've also gone down as well, like that, just to make it a bit thicker, because I wanted him to have really dark shoes. Now, the rest of him, the coverage isn't massive, you know, like, it's not thick, like there. But because it's sparkly, you sort of can't see it here very much, but the sparkle is coming through from the opalescent fabric. You can't really see it on the internet, I don't think, and so I'm happy with that because he sparkles. And you know, I didn't realise how much of a sparkly person I was until I started doing Flosstube, and then I realised I seemed to be sparkling a lot. Was that all I had to say? Yes, I think so. So that's him. Put him aside. Now, Ingeborg was saying that she liked Escher's work, and there was one that she liked in particular, which was this one, and how good it would be to have a chart of that. Now, the name of the person, Nancy, from Nancy's Needlework, said that there are Hades of Escher's work, which is all well and which is excellent. But what if you have a problem that you have a picture that you want to stitch, but you can't find a chart that suits what you want to do? I had that problem, and I'll show you. It was for my sister. I wanted to do her a wolf, And I looked high and low to try and find a chart that was what I wanted, and I couldn't find the picture. Well, I eventually found the picture that I wanted, but you can't, you know, there are certain subjects that people, designers, don't chart because they're only going to chart designs that they think are going to be a commercial success. So where does that leave us? Well, not you, but me, people like me, who have a specific interest in specific things. So, sorry, I'm just being a bit waffly, but this is the picture. Anyway, I'll just show you what I'm on about. This one here was the picture that I really liked, that I wanted to stitch for my sister. And I called him Wolfynn because, I don't know, there's just something about that face, you know. So what I did, I mentioned to my husband about it, and he found some computer programs that will do that for you. They'll create a chart for you of the picture that you have. And there are 3 that he went through lots, and he found the 3 best ones. And there's an asterisk, those 3 are underneath in the box below. And there's an asterisk next to the one that I used for this particular one that I've just showed you, Wolfynn. Now, you get, I'll show you the chart in a minute, but this is how he turned out. Of course, my sister's got him, but that's how he turned out. I got him on the thing. And that was the original picture. Now that's on 18 count, and I just think he's lovely. And here is a closer upper of the stitching. So here, see, there's, you get the colours. Now he took 90 colours, that Wolfynn, and then you get your chart that you print out, and you stick it all together. And of course I crossed as I went, each square I did. So that's Wolfynn. That's the one with the asterisk next to it in the box below. That's the program that he used for that. Then he's given me 3 different programs. So I've tried one, that was the first one. Now the second one is one I did for myself, and I've called him Wolverynn. And it's the same photograph, exactly the same photograph. And here's the stitching, and the same thing again, except the chart is different in that it's coloured in, like it's printed in colour. So that their particular charting system is different in that way, but the principle is still the same. Now there may be pauses in this video because we've been getting heavy downpours of rain, and we've got a tin roof. So if you see a jump in the video, that's because rain came and I had to stop for a while. All right, that's the bottom part of the chart. Okay, so I'll just show you the stitching for him. That's why I've got all these bits of paper everywhere. And he's a bit different because Wolverynn seems to have more detail up here. Oh, sorry, Wolfynn. He seems to have more detail up here, whereas Wolverynn's mouth is a bit better, I think, than the first one. But it's all a matter of choice. I mean, I'm happy with him, but I have to try the last program, which I haven't tried yet, with the same subject, with the same wolf, just to see how that program performs compared to these two. So the third one down, I haven't checked that out, so I don't really know how good that one is. Okay, so now then, back to Ingeborg. That was, as I say, that was the picture that she was interested in. So my husband ran the program just to, oh, actually, that's the charted picture, actually. So the photograph is there, and that is what the computer made for stitching. So it's pretty close. And of course, like anything, the higher your fabric count, the better you, oh, sorry about the light, it's going crazy out there. I think it's because it's a stormy sort of day, but I seem to be going all colours here. And he just showed, he printed just a little bit of what the chart would look like. And that's the colours. In this case, what have we got? 2, 4, 6. About 28 colours. So really, if you decide to try one of these computer programs, the sky is the limit, basically. So he says you can import the picture in, or you can design your own cross stitch with this program. You tell it the stitch size, and the picture can be converted to pretty much any size, but I think there is a limit of the size the program will allow. You tell it what the fabric count is when you have chosen your fabric. If you use a smaller number, the design becomes more simple. So if you want to use less colours, well, of course your design gets more simple. You know, you have blocks of colour, and you'll lose the detail. So yeah, just checking things. As I say, the details are in the box below. Then he's done a few more. So this one here, now there's the actual photograph. This is one of Escher's masterpieces. Okay. Then this one here, if you did that in 18 count, that is what it would look like. Then if you, sorry, I'll hold it a bit longer just so you can, that's 18 count. Now if you did it in 25 count, which is quite a popular count, it would look like this. Then if you did it in 32 count, and this is 40 count, which is pretty close to the original photo. I mean, because when all, it's never going to be quite as sharp, of course, because it is stitching when all's said and done. I mean, if you want it to look like stitching, otherwise you'd just have the photograph in a frame on the wall. So, you know, then I don't know if this was a hint to me or not, but he liked this one. And he's charted, there's the chart, and he's actually printed the whole chart off. So I'm not sure if Harlequin is being subtle there and suggesting that I should stitch this for him. We shall see. So I just thought I would show you the plans that I've got for some stitching that I'm very excited about, that I haven't seen a chart of, and I'm not likely to, I wouldn't think, because again, charting companies, they naturally enough, they're only going to put out commercial success, or what they think will be, because that's how a business runs. So if you're someone that wants something that isn't what most charts are, well, then you have to find some other way of solving your problem. So that's what, well, my husband did it for me because he's so super duper. So here are my plans. Paul Gauguin's Harlequin, which I absolutely love, and I can hardly wait to start on him. And this is an 1888 picture, and it's Paul Cézanne. It's his son. His son posed for the Harlequin, and in this picture, the Harlequin is pretending to be at the head of a procession, and he's got his bat there, his stick, and Perrault, the clown here, is about to try and steal the Harlequin's baton. It's just divine. There's something about this. Now, I would imagine that if I tried to get a chart of that, I'd still be looking in, you know, 2099. So there you go. Now, the other one I'm looking forward to is this one, the villain from Swan Lake, von Rothbart, the evil magician. And I just love this picture. And I have to do that in very fine count to get the detail. And then this one, which is also splendid. So you just imagine there's probably a lot of pictures that you have through you, and you've thought, oh, I wish I could stitch that. Well, you can stitch it. That's what I'm saying today. Anything that speaks to you, you can do. And this one here is a picture that my daughter did. And I'm going to do that one. But I'm going to have to do a lot of colour, you know, ask the computer to do a lot of colours there, because otherwise it'll just pick up the blocks and it won't have as much of the subtlety in it that I would like. So that's another one. Now, my husband's just printed this out just to show von Rothbart. Now, there's the photo there, the original photo. 14 count, 18 count, oh, what have I got here? 22, 28 and 36 count along the bottom there. Just to show the differences. Now, of course, there are going to be issues, I would say, at the bottom of his wing there to differentiate it to the back. But I think you can get around all those things. Because, I mean, you only need a bit of edging there to separate the wing from... And, of course, the background I'd do in half cross stitch anyway, so that it's further away. So that will differentiate him. Okay. And then he's just printed this off for me, showing the different contrasts in the colour of the background. So when you've got that's ×5 brightness, and I think this one is, oh, that's just when you don't do anything with the brightness on your program, because you can adjust the brightness and the contrast and everything on your picture that you want made into a chart. And then this one is 12 brightness. So, you know, you just tweak it. You tweak it the way you want it to give you the result that you want. So, Ingeborg, I hope that does, you know, set your imagination going and see what you come up with. Now, I think I've got time now to show you this Dürer, who was a great influence on Escher. He was a great woodblocker. And I thought that people might be interested because there's a stitching chart called Praying Hands, which I think you see variations of. This light is crazy. Sorry, it's just, I don't know, that's worse. That's a bit better. Oh, anyway. Praying Hands. And actually, that is the original work, Dürer. And it's Hands of an Apostle. And it says here that Dürer's now famous Praying Hands, a brush drawing on a blue grounded paper, was intended simply as a preliminary study for an altarpiece commissioned by a wealthy Frankfurt citizen, Jacob Heller. Nevertheless, the drawing is finished down to the last detail because Dürer planned to transpose it exactly in the final oil painting. So that's where the original Praying Hands came from. And because it's so popular with so many stitches, I thought they might be interested in that particular piece of information. And then I thought I'll just go through because, well, why not? I've got the book here. A nativity scene. And just look at the expression on the Christ child's face there. It's just, he's just got that real inquisitive look, hasn't he? And you see that on so many babies. Just trying to make out what's going on. Beautiful. Then, with regard to the cross-stitch program again, just imagine your own version of that. I mean, here be beasties all right, just look at them. See, if you've got a Gothic taste in stitching, there's not that many of those. Well, I mean, there are ones around, but you might want some that are a bit more complex. Now, here's a picture of Dürer. It's a self-portrait, and it says, "The most celebrated of Dürer's many self-portraits is this painting, made when he was 29 and renowned throughout Europe. Frankly idealized into a Christ-like image, it may have been meant by Dürer to remind viewers that an artist's creative spirit is God-given. Well, if that's not modesty, I don't know what is. And there he is. And then, if you were keen, I mean, look at what you could do. I mean, I think that would be quite difficult to make that into a chart, but it's not impossible. It'd just be on a very high cant fabric for sure. So it might give your eyes a workout. And here is Dürer's Adam and Eve. In his engraving of Adam and Eve about to take the forbidden fruit, Dürer has mixed symbolism and realism to great effect. The elk, rabbit, cat and ox represent the evil humours of melancholy, sensuality, cruelty and sluggishness. At the same time, Dürer has achieved in the two beautifully rendered figures one of his finest expressions of a lifelong search for ideal human proportions. And this is from Time Life Library of Art, The World of Dürer. Right. Well, I hope that I've covered everything I was going to say, because it's one thing to be sitting there thinking, oh yes, I'll do this and I'll do this and I'll do this. It's quite another when the little red light is on and you're trying to make sure that you have included everything you were going to include. But if you have any questions, I'd say that my husband would come to the party and answer in the comments below. I think that's all I have to say today. Just all the best to you in all the work that you're doing. It's so good to just sit there stitching away and watching all these different people from all these different places stitching on so many different projects and pieces, and there are so many artists out there that have great creative spirit. And, you know, and people say about their stitchy bug, I've lost my stitchy bug. No, you've never lost your stitchy bug. It goes into hibernation for a while, but it's never lost, because if you've got that urge in you to stitch, it never really goes. I mean, life might get in the way of it, but no, it's always there. All right then. So thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you again next time, and it's goodbye from Stitch Bliss Corner.